Maybe, I'll ask my
I need a
kid.
little square of the-
Oh, that's what it is. Yeah, my wife goes, I can't see you and I don't want to. Yeah, so,
I
whatever.
think we're good.
Okay, thank you, sir. Anyway, I'd like to resume calling this meeting to order. Are there any announcements? John, who is with us electronically?
Nobody is, Mr. President.
All right, thank you, sir. Commissioner, welcome. And young lady, who are you with?
Hi, my name is Ashley Peddle and I'm with the Washington Constitution District.
Oh, welcome. Very nice to see you. Okay, we'll have words. Thank you. Okay. I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda. Do I have a second?
Second.
This one moved and seconded.
Aye.
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 The agenda is approved. A public forum. Anybody wishing to speak? Don't all get up at once. I say it all the time. I used to do the Bueller. Okay, yeah. Okay, not hearing anything there. We're gonna move on to the consent calendar. Do any of the managers have an item that they would like pulled from our consent calendar? Yes, sir.
Don't necessarily want it pulled, but just one quiet, minor, thing on the minutes is I did attend that meeting and,
What? He did?
and I'm not
I
listed.
thought Don was.
So that's the only thing. Not worth pulling it, but I thought like that.
Thought you were Don. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have looked bad. Okay. So with that said, not hearing anything further, I would like to make a motion to approve the consent calendar. Do I have a second?
Second?
It's been moved and seconded.
Aye.
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 The consent calendar is approved. Okay. Updates and requests from partners. Let's move on to Administrator John. Our watershed plan and resolution 2026-05, the resolution approving and adopting the 2026-2035 watershed management plan. A motion is required for this. John, lead us into this, please.
Mr. President, managers, the full board of the Minnesota Board of Water and Soil Resources met Wednesday morning and approved the Valley Branch 10-year plan. Prior to the formal approval, staff gave a short introduction and then the Central Committee chairperson, Mr. Collins from the Capital Region Watershed District, summarized a little bit about the 10-year plan. So did some of the other members of the Central Committee, complimented the Watershed District, and Greg Williams and I attended, and I thank the board and the partners for the participation in developing the plan, and then they approved the plan. So there's a resolution in the packet for the managers to officially approve the plan.
Very good, sir. Did Greg speak?
They didn't have any questions for Greg. so
Oh.
that'll be good.
I think he would have been effective. Okay. So with that said, I'm going to I'm going to go ahead and read this with permission from our counselor. So that I do it right.
Yep.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, so I would like to move to approve the resolution approving and adopting the 2026-2035 watershed management plan. Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded.
Aye.
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 It is approved.
Okay. Note that's resolution 2026-05 and it's the one that's as pre-read. The resolution is pre-read.
Thank you, ma'am. I don't need to recant that. Okay, very
Just
good.
noting for the minutes.
You see why she's here? Yeah, thank goodness. Okay. All right. We can sign this afterwards,
Yeah, now or later, either's fine.
right after the meeting.
Yep.
Thank you. Okay. Yes, sir.
Climatic.
I know for
All that work.
I know for all that work, we didn't even discuss it. I know. With with Greg, with all the hassle we put Greg through and everything and. Oh, man, that's true.
Good job. Yeah, super.
Thank you, everybody. Yeah, we needed that. Okay, that's squared away. Minnesota Pollution Control Agency's draft reissued permit for the Cimarron Park wastewater treatment plant. Okay. Mr. Engineer, tell us what's happening here, please.
Mr. President, in your packet is a memo from me and a draft comment letter. Minnesota Pollution Control Agency has finally drafted a reissue of the permit for the Cimarron wastewater treatment plant.
Okay.
Existing permit, or the existing permit expired in 2021. But so the draft reissue permit does talk a little bit about the flooding at the Cimarron wastewater treatment plant, but it really seems to be tied a little bit more for the rapid infiltration basins and talking about submitting an emergency management plan for flooding at those basins rather than flooding at Rose Lake itself. And so my draft comment letter suggests that they add some requirements to the emergency flood plan that would say that they need to analyze the system discharge and seepage into Rose Lake. They need to make sure that their system is protected from flooding and develop a plan for even evacuating the residents if that system does not work. If their emergency operation system involves pumping water downstream, that they analyze the impacts of that pumped water downstream and that they purchase any easements that they need to purchase if they're increasing the 100-year flood elevation. So those suggestions are outlined at the bottom of page 1 of the draft comment letter and the top of page 2. Also included in page 2 is asking that they consider connecting their
Right.
plant to the urban services that are now available for them to.
I just want to interject with one word if it's for what it's worth. Line 23 on page 2 of that.
Mhm.
Valley Branch Watershed District also respectfully requests that the MPCA consider requiring connection. I'd say pretty please, but you know, we keep it a little formal. So that's all I have. That was excellent, by the way. I read this. One of my concerns, of course, was the analysis, what their analysis is going to entail, and if they were to ask us to do anything, my understanding is we are not. We are just.
Mr. President,
Yes.
This is the permit that Cimarron would obtain from the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency. And so the conditions of the Minnesota Pollution Control Agencies would, Cimarron, the owner, would need to have to do that work, that analysis.
Very good, sir.
I am also aware that Washington County received the draft permit directly, and Lake Elmo also received it directly, and I hope that both of those entities would submit comments, also encouraging connection to urban sewer.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Mr.
Hey,
Bill,
we're in the 30-day comment period right now. So these things ever get changed during that period based on the comments, if it's coming from the city and the county and the Watershed district? I mean,
I don't know, but I think the more people who comment on it, the higher likelihood there is that they would consider the comments.
I got the impression from looking at the permit, the draft permit, that it kind of sounded like, okay, we'll give you a permit, and then you gotta meet these conditions. And it just seemed like, you know, giving away the bargaining power before there's anything going on, and, you know, before it issued. In my understanding the process, first of all, in terms of how this goes about, and you know, I'm pretty concerned about, you know, the whole thing in terms of, okay, if they already have the permit and then, oh, well, they didn't abide by it, well, maybe we'll figure something out, and it turns into this long process that it doesn't really accomplish what needs to be accomplished here, because there's a lot of risk involved in that site in terms of, reissuing permit without some major changes.
That's a good point. Treasurer Gellman, the permit, the draft permit does say within 180 days, they must do these things, but it doesn't say what the consequences are if they don't.
Yeah. Maybe a little more teeth in it somehow. I don't know if that can go into our comments as well, some.
You could work on some language that let's basically say, suggest that they don't issue the permit until these things are taken. That the analyses are done rather than issue the permit and give them a half a year to do the analysis.
Yeah. It might be worthwhile, then there's a little more leeway in terms of negotiating something and dealing with the issues. There's some major stuff there. And
Yeah, all that analysis.
yeah, and thinking about even if, if it were to become part of the, the sanitary sewer system, Metro Council's system, that ain't gonna happen overnight. It's something that's gotta go through a process, and I guess I'd really rather see it be a negotiation type of thing, and part of our leverage is, issuing the permit. Or PCA is issuing the permit. So, getting some of the things that are in the permit going before things like a road.
Thank you.
Sir,
Couple questions. Who bears the responsibility for covering the cost for additional work? Is it the property owner?
That's my understanding, that they're the ones requesting the permit.
Because I know that affordable housing is a legitimate concern here for this. And also, the environmental risk, it just seems so obvious to me that connecting it to regional solar is the smartest thing to do. And our letter kind of leaves that at the end as an afterthought. I don't know if unless I'm incorrect, but it seems like it'd be nice if we really tried to emphasize that more. Then, again, we don't want to put excess costs on the property owner and therefore the residents there, so. I don't know if there's some funding that can be had from somewhere to help make that happen.
And Mr. President, as discussed at a meeting that Manager Armstrong and Treasurer Gellman and I attended that Washington County organized a couple of years ago, that was brought up. And it would be very expensive to the community to connect to sanitary sewer based on the current method and how the Met Council does that, because I think there's hookup fees, and then there's also a charge from the city of Lake Elmo to bring the pipe to the community.
Sure.
And so I recall it being a couple $1 million or so to the community. And so the letter that we had sent the Met Council 6 months ago suggested, Met Council, one of your goals is for affordable housing. Met Council, you're the folks in charge of the sanitary sewer. Can you work with Cimarron Park to come up with a plan to maintain the affordability of the area and get them connected to sewer?
hence this letter.
Yeah.
Yeah, this has been a touchy issue for some time, and we're trying to do our part.
Well, and maybe, with the permit becoming more prominent, there will be more action there, but I think motivating that is useful. To get Met Council to respond in some way.
Do we have any estimate if this thing failed, what the cleanup costs would be and putting all these people? Cost that would be more than connecting it to the sewer to begin with.
Manager Armstrong, I know the emergency operations person at Washington County said that this would be national news if this were to flood again, the system became inoperable.
It's 500 units.
If I may, we don't want no trouble. So,
I notice there's a lot of talk about the monitoring. Is there existing monitoring that can be kind of reviewed or looked at on kind of an immediate basis before this permit is in effect? It seems like that would be another way to.
on our part
say, yeah,
or on their
Our-
part?
we may have data that would be useful here, not to do new monitoring, but to, say around the time the flood conditions were bad, if we had monitored information in that, at that time frame. It seems like that would be, it says you're not complying with what we've got here, so there's definitely things that have to be done and, get it in front of them, in front of the permit applicant.
John, do we have 2025 data on that particular water body on Rose Lake? Or I know we just did one recently.
Mr.
Didn't cover
President,
that?
I don't believe it's being,
Okay.
water levels are being monitored this year. We do have a hydrologic and hydraulic model that has been developed for the Goose Lake or for the Rose Lake watershed.
Right.
Looks at 60 some years of climate data.
Yes,
that
sir.
We could offer as a tool for them to do this analysis.
Yeah, and at one point in here, they talk about, is there any discernible difference in the water color? And I think there's a continuing type of situation like that, and to demonstrate that as being an existing issue that doesn't comply with this permit, how are you going to address that? Is certainly something that, that ought to be talked about.
Treasurer Gellman, managers, as you've identified, the draft permit seems to really be focused on water quality and not a whole lot on flooding. And so I think at a minimum, the permit should expand the needs and the concerns regarding flooding.
Very good. Satisfied for now, sir?
Yes.
Very good.
Mr.
Gentlemen?
President,
Yes,
the
sir.
comments are not due until June or July 15th. I believe.
Okay,
So if you'd like, there is another Valley Branch meeting prior to that deadline. Like, I can redraft the comment letter and bring it to the next meeting for consideration.
please do. Please do. That would be a great idea. Then we could follow up on this. And they will have looked at this as well, correct? MPCA or not yet?
Not until they receive your.
Okay, very good. So we'll do that.
Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, thank you. All right, anything further from anybody? Commissioner, respectfully, do you have any comments on this issue? Are you aware of what's happening in,
I am aware of it.
Yes, yes,
And the
ma'am.
county is working on a joint letter between our Department of Public Health, our Attorney's Office, Emergency Management Office, and Public Works, because they have been the ones that have been called on for pumping. So very aware of it, and I think the sentiments that I'm hearing are echoed at the county as well.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, Rick? I like that.
Great, yeah. I think that's what it's gonna take, is to be everybody turn on the same wavelength and saying, no, this has gotta change. Because there's a lot of risk there. A lot of concern. Housing,
Yeah.
environment, and all kinds of things.
All right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it, Rick.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to item number 3, permit 2026-31. The Jocelyn Road culvert replacement at Grant. Okay. John, please tell us what's happening here.
Mr. President, managers, there are 2 corrugated metal pipe culverts that have deteriorated, and there's some sinkholes that have developed over the top of them. This is at if you're familiar with the area of the bend in Jocelyn Road. Some of you have toured the site up there. These culverts have been replaced before, I think about 15 years ago. So they need to be replaced. The city of Grant is planning to replace them. So this permit memo typically would have been under the consent calendar, but the city of Grant engineer also asked if Valley Branch Watershed District would like to take over the responsibilities related to the culverts, because these culverts are a integral portion of the Sunnybrook Lake floodplain system. There are other culverts that are also in the Sunnybrook Lake floodplain system. Typically, cities, whether it's Lake Elmo or Oakdale or Afton, replace culverts all the time. They're the road authorities, the culverts are underneath their roads. So I responded to the city engineer that I bring it to the Valley Branch Board of Managers, but my guess is that they would not want to take over the responsibility of these culverts.
Historically, we don't do that anyway, correct? Okay. Sir, please.
That was my question. Do we own culverts under roads anywhere else in the watershed? I wasn't aware of it.
Also, what would be the expense of that undertaking if that is what they're suggesting? Perhaps so we can repair it.
You would need to replace the culverts every couple decades.
Yeah. Ooh.
And
Okay.
Valley Branch Watershed District does not have a drainage easement over these culverts right now.
Okay.
Right now, the culverts are within city grant right away and an easement dedicated to the city grant. So if the managers would like to take over the responsibility, I would suggest that there be some sort of agreement that gives Valley Branch access to these culverts. And then you probably also want to develop a plan to gain access and rights to the other culverts in the system, because there are many culverts in the Sunnybrook Lake floodplain system.
Okay, so at this point, we could contact them and ask them if they would like to do that, replace the culverts themselves, right?
Mr. President, I think the response could be that the board discussed it and declined the suggestion that Valley Branch take over the ownership of the culverts.
Sir,
Just one more comment. A little different situation, but just north of there, we do have a situation where it's on private land. So where we had agreed to replace a culvert, and which didn't happen because of easement issues and that sort of thing. But I wanted to point that out that, yeah, we did talk about one very, very close to this, but it was a whole different situation. It was on private land, and we made the determination that because of the situation there, it was in our interest to be a part of that for flooding reasons. And so, but that was a totally different thing.
Yeah, there was some ownership issues with who was being impacted.
right,
Yeah.
I recall. So at this point, we can cordially invite them to reconsider their involvement in doing that, costs, and then revisit our involvement and see what we say. But we're essentially declining. Very good.
Still need to approve the permit
Right.
though.
We still need to approve this permit, don't we?
Yes.
Okay, with that said, I would like to make a motion to approve of permit 2026-31 with what we stated.
Second that.
So moved and seconded.
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
Aye.
is approved. All right. John, you know what to say. Thank you, sir. Okay. Now, attorney, counselor,
Yes, hello. If you recall last month, I talked about a data request that was submitted. We did receive a supplemental request between last meeting and this meeting. So I worked with engineer Hanson and engineer Phillips in responding to that supplemental request. Other than that, no substantive updates for all of you. So if you have any questions for me, otherwise that's it.
okay. That was cheery.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sir.
Just curious, any update on the whole situation out by Gertens and,
No substantive updates.
okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
Still working with, his attorney.
All right.
you'll let us know, of course.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, very good. And nothing else?
Nothing else from me.
Okay, thank you, Counselor. All right, managers. We have a couple of items here. Don? Sir? This one's yours. What's happening here? With the reducing the chloride pollution from winter gas and chemicals policy statement? Do you want to discuss any of that, or did you have another
Oh,
item?
sure, yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure what you were referring to, but.
Yes,
Yeah, the clean water policy statement, the Minnesota Watershed had our legislative meeting on, and we, approved unanimously, 9 resolutions, including the one presented by, Capital Region on, stormwater reuse, and Boyd attended a state plumbers meeting the following day. I haven't caught up an email yet, but there's a very, very strong coalition together to try to get that code changed. Because it would be very, very harmful to a lot of watershed districts if we weren't allowed to do stormwater in the way that we have been.
Mr. President, managers, I attended that meeting as well. It was a packed room and people testified, Washington County testified, City of Lake Elmo testified, I testified, several watershed districts testified. The purpose of the meeting is the plumbing board, which is a division of the Department of Labor and Industry, had proposed a rule change, a code change that would prohibit the use of stormwater for irrigation. And it's unclear really why they were making that proposal. The Department of Health spoke first and said, we're okay with stormwater for irrigation. We need to consider the risk, but they did not support a 100% prohibition on irrigation for stormwater. There were about 30 people who testified, or 30 representatives of organizations who testified. Testimony went for about 2.5 hours. There were 2 entities that spoke in favor of the prohibition. It was the pipe fitters union and the plumbers union. The
So-
outcome of that was that the plumbing board, after hearing all this testimony,
Mhm.
decided that they would take a pause on this rule change. They'll reconvene their ad hoc committee July 21st. They said that they welcome any request for action, some acronym RFA that I'm not really familiar with. But the Capital Region Watershed District will be continuing to lead this coalition to try to prevent this code from being changed. And we'll be meeting after July 4th to come up with a plan and how to take next steps.
Sir.
Just curious, did the union say what the basis was for their?
We're all gonna go there.
Question.
Yeah.
One, I can't remember, I think it was the pipe fitters union representative who was concerned about Legionnaire's disease and other diseases that the public could possibly get from irrigation. I guess my point of view is, but that's the Department of Health's responsibility, not the pipe fitters union or the plumbing board, to make sure that the public is safe.
Very interesting. Looks like it's getting better for us, for the people that agree on the stormwater use for irrigation.
Sure, yeah, like I said, there's a very strong coalition, it's just bizarre that 2 unions that have no actual experience with the technology can weigh in based on conjecture, especially when it's sent up to the Department of Health to determine risks associated with disease spread or whatever, which has been, as we know, has been pondered and considered in using this technology, whether it's installing, UV filtration to kill pathogens or whatever it might be. I mean, it's not like we're naive to that risk, so. Anyways. I think Cap Region has a $10 million project that's now on hold because of this.
Really?
And if you recall the summer tour, they already do this at a huge level at Alliance Field at the soccer stadium. So
Interesting.
anyways. So that was a little bit of a digression to item B, but I thought I wanted to inform you of that anyways from the meeting.
Very good, sir.
So Jan added, at my request, she added the Clean Water Council's policy to the agenda, and we briefly discussed it. And we're not sure what we're gonna do right now because we have to see how our chloride policy comes together as we prepare a legislative agenda for next session. As you all know, we're now we're walking away from the limited liability because there's too much political opposition.
There's a lot of stuff
We're
there.
gonna try to start working on a regulatory approach to chloride pollution, so. But obviously it would make sense to glean whatever we can on a Clean Water Council's policy to kind of join forces, if you will. I will say this, Kevin Matzik, our lead lobbyist from LGN, does not like the salt tax because he thinks that's gonna be politically really hard.
Political football of
So
sorts,
really big
yeah.
hill to climb. So.
Yeah.
And that's about what we have for Monday on this.
I was thinking the super secret salt police, but yeah, that's not gonna work. Whoa. That one's gonna be interesting. At this point, just my quick opinion, education, and something that we've been pushing, I can't get enough. We all need it. Yeah. Okay. Have you concluded, sir? Are we good?
Yes.
All right. Thank you for your input on that. Okay. Anything further from any of the managers? Rick, anything exciting? Commissioner Cox, these men travel all over the world to exotic places and they do exotic things. And I lived through them and it's very exciting. And sometimes, after the meeting, I ask them, so where were you? And sometimes it's frightening, but it's fun to see the pictures, photos. Okay.
But we always seem to come back.
They do. They go to Antarctica and Africa and everything, and wow. Disease free. Okay, too much information. The Clark, okay, informational purposes only. Clark Stewardship grant. What's going on there, John? Did I miss something?
Mr. President, just included that in the packet and let's show off what a great prairie is being developed.
Young lady, my hat's off to you and Miss Elizabeth Thompson. Is she your boss by chance?
We are colleagues.
Your colleagues, okay, forgive me. This is painting worthy.
I will pass the message along.
Please, yeah, we're very happy with her work, what she's been doing. There's other stuff here. Also, your budget is getting pretty thin. We know that we're good sports about anything that's potentially looming, but at this point, $11,650. So we try to keep it, how shall I say, as efficient as possible. Okay, and also, that was the car share tracking. And the recommendations, we talked about that briefly. Also, I noticed who wrote this out, the inspector's report. Was this Nate or Aaron?
It's probably be me.
It would be Nate. Mention to him, please, that he's doing a nice job. We appreciate that. And I see a lot of email that he's contacting these people with the emails as well as meeting them when he can, whatever is the proper thing to do within our realm, so we're happy. Good. This is all, it's getting taken care of. And then if it doesn't, of course, then they need to bring that to our attention. We'll see what we can do. You know, I just don't know. Yeah. Sir,
Mr. President, I think Ashley would like to give a little bit of her background. Since
Please.
she'll hopefully be working with Watershed District on shoreline.
thank you.
Yeah,
Ashley, please.
thank you for the introduction. Nice to meet all of you. Dave Riggs suggested that I join a meeting to get to know all of you. My name is Ashley Peddle. I joined the Washington Conservation District in May as the landscape restoration specialist. So if you've worked with Lori Tella in the past, she is no longer with the district. And so they pulled me on to join the team. And so I will be working primarily on shoreline restoration
Oh,
projects.
nice. Okay.
But also other BMP site visits and supporting the cost share program. My background, if that would be helpful, I started, it's been a meandering path, but it's always been at the intersection of people and nature. Started with an architecture degree at the University of Minnesota, but I found myself pulled towards environmental science. And so I had been in the environmental nonprofit sector for many years, working on outdoor recreation, youth engagement in the outdoors, volunteer activation and stewardship, parks and trails, a lot of state parks and state trails in Minnesota. Then I went back to get a graduate degree at the U of M in horticultural science and ecological restoration. And most recently worked as a restoration ecologist at Minnesota Native Landscapes.
That's wonderful.
And so,
Mhm.
yeah, a history of partnerships and collaboration, working with many people towards common goals of, being stewards of the outdoors and of nature.
Wonderful.
I'm excited to join the district and have a lot to learn. There's a lot of moving parts, a lot of programs, but I'm excited to get to know everyone and everything.
Here's a question. Can you write grants?
We, as my understanding is we do not have a lot of funding to do that.
Okay.
But if there is funding available, that is the type of support that we could do. We just don't have existing funding to support
Okay.
things.
Yes, ma'am. As best as you can do. I get it. No, you need all the help we can get. We like that. Sir,
Ashley, could you talk a little bit about how you coordinate with the municipalities, with the cities? I
Good
guess in
question.
particular, I'm thinking that a lot of the shoreline types of activities and stuff often include a permit at the cities, and I'm not always that sure about how well coordinated it is between cities and the watershed district in terms of, getting everything dealt with in terms of what the shoreline part of the issue is. And I think there's an opportunity to encourage people that are, looking at doing, some landscaping or whatever, to also encourage them to look at more natural types of approaches and so
Right.
on.
Yes, and there are a lot of layers that go into it. There is, it's public waters, the DNR jurisdiction, there's the permits with, cities or municipalities, and then watershed districts might have certain requirements as well. So those are the layers I'm starting to plug into and learn about. I do know that when it comes to building permits or variances, our district engineer reviews a lot of those permits and is involved in making sure that their practices are honoring those rules with respect to setbacks and things like that. And then, whenever we're conducting site visits and we're talking with landowners or, if it's public land, city municipalities that own shoreline at parks, we will be encouraging the bioengineering practices over things like riprap.
A little bit of a curve, throw you a curve here. What happens in Ramsey County? for, you know, that review process that you described for Washington County. I know that,
It's just a little slice.
yeah.
Can you say the question again? I'm not sure.
How does that happen in Ramsey County? Because, you know, obviously we don't have that same review process as coordinated. I don't think on Silver Lake, for instance.
I see.
Um,
I'm not sure the process in Ramsey
Okay,
County.
and it's always been kind of confusing to me in terms of who's covering what
Mhm.
in that little piece of
Yeah.
Valley Branch that's in Ramsey County.
I see,
Um,
yeah. Mhm.
And, yeah, this is ways to address that.
Right.
Useful.
Mr. Engineer,
President Michelle and Treasurer Gilman, the Watershed District does have a contract with Ramsey County, just like you have a contract with Washington Conservation District
Okay.
to provide services to individuals. And then as far as the requirements, it's similar in both counties where there's the DNR, the Watershed District and the city that all have various jurisdictions over certain aspects of projects.
But I'm not sure if that always gets reviewed.
I'm not sure either, but when we're informed about it, we work hand in hand with the city of North St. Paul. And the DNR.
well, we hope that you will continue to do what you're doing and be proactive in in your endeavors. Sir,
The other big part of, the legislative session to review resolutions that we'll be hearing more from at the annual meeting on resolution was a series of 4 resolutions put forth by Mike, licensee, administrator Carmar, all on, shoreline protection. Including strengthening the existing state rules of shoreline protection, more public education, more funding for SWCDs and watershed districts to do that work. So, yeah, he did a good solid job on that. Did his background work, already talked to DNR folks about potential rules revisions to make it stronger as well. So
anything further, gentlemen? Hey, do you have waiters?
Not in my car, but I guess,
Good.
Yeah.
So we like hands-on.
yes.
Yeah. Forgive me, we're just having fun. All right, okay. Thank you very much, young lady. We're looking forward to working with you. And we hope things are gonna go good because it's very important to us. We have some, if you want to make inquiries about some of our lakes and water bodies around here, feel free to ask our engineer, and you can contact us if you like, and we'll try to give you anecdotal information about something. And you can acquire histories to help you do what you're going to do, or to collaborate with these people. So
Perfect, I appreciate that.
you bet. Okay, thank you. Welcome aboard. Okay. Nothing further. So will everybody be able to attend the July 9th and 23rd meeting? Will we have a quorum, or is anybody going to go somewhere special?
July 23rd, I'll be on one of my exotic adventures to Iowa. Yeah.
With that electric motor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I won't be here this 23rd either.
All right, the pressure's on you other 3.
On this continent? Yeah, okay. Sir, where are you gonna go? Back to Africa?
I was going to ask if I could attend virtually,
Yes, and
because I got an invite to be up in Grand Rapids on the 20th.
yeah, most respectfully, as long as, well, we're hoping that, it's not gonna be a problem with our technology. And by all means, yeah, we
Yeah,
want,
I know that we're now at risk of a quorum, so
yeah,
I'll be at a friend's who has very good internet.
very good.
So
Okay.
as long as it works on this end, then we should be okay.
Mr. Engineer, with emphasis on engineer?
I'll try, then we'll
Okay.
coordinate with Alex Olson to do the proper posting.
Thank you. I didn't know if
Okay.
Don was gonna be on the front of some boat, you know.
given the fact that we need me for the quorum, let me know if you're not comfortable and I'll make other plans.
If Teams doesn't work, I have my cell phone. And
I was gonna say, I don't think it'll be an issue.
Okay,
It would just be if the tech malfunctions, and we'll find a way around that if
okay.
need be.
Thank you, Counselor. That's very reassuring. I like that.
Ed,
Sir.
Are you gonna bring the crickets or should I?
I haven't heard them this year. I don't know if they got a pest control service. I was gonna ask you about hematophagous insects, because they tore me up this afternoon. Yeah. Anyway, that's another issue. Yeah, I guess they'll show up sometime. When things get, we have these running jokes and things about the crickets when things get real quiet, you know. We ask the public to attend and, yeah, you understand. Thank you, Commissioner. Okay, finally, the Washington County Fair is coming up. Gentlemen, we will get information about attending and giving them some time. So, John, keep us abreast of that, please. And I guess WCD is going to help us with that as well, because we work with them. All right, very good, sir. And the summer tour, we'll talk about that maybe the next meeting to see how it pertains to us. Long-winded, I know. And the annual meeting in August. And finally, the East Metro Water Resources, MRAP, 20th anniversary celebration, Rustic Roots Winery, Scandia, Tuesday, September 29th, 5 to 7. I would like to attend that. I've got some questions for some of those folks. Yeah, I'm gonna start with this one real quick. I get photos and letters from folks that talk about all of the bundles upon bundles of fishing line that they find on the St. Croix Bridge, Stillwater. Yeah, and so among many things that needs to be addressed.
Mr. President, I did relay on that comment to Angie Long.
Did you?
She mentioned that it could possibly be a social service project that maybe even her son could be involved with.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, he's a good kid. Yeah, I like that. Okay,
Mr. Chair,
yes, sir.
could we back up to item E, the annual meeting on resolution?
Please, go ahead.
So we need to determine who our delegate's gonna be. Now, here's the tricky thing.
August.
Try not to lose your patience with me. I'm supposed to be chairing that meeting.
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna be in Amway, Namibia on that day. Fortunately, they are 7 hours ahead, which puts us at 5 PM.
Okay,
So I'm gonna contact. We're gonna be at a resort that I think has really good internet, so I told Jan I'm gonna try to see if I can still get connected and share the meeting.
okay, that's gonna be as long as, you don't have like wild animals running through camp or something.
Well,
Stories are
we're going there
insane.
we're going to this specific spot to try to get a peek at the elusive black rhino, but I won't be doing that with a laptop in my hand.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to
Think so.
or have a,
But we should still, what I'm suggesting is we should still find 2 delegates.
well, we could
Mr.
potentially
President, Janet
do,
hasn't filed out the resolution,
yeah,
the packet yet.
Yeah.
Right. We got plenty of time to get it.
Okay, good. Good. You're scaring me, Don. And I finally found out what boomslang means. It's a South African word for tree snake,
Yeah.
and they're highly poisonous. Okay, all right. Just another fun fact. Okay, with that said, one last item. Motion to adjourn. It's been moved and seconded.
Aye.
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 We are adjourned. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
It was just that rustic route yesterday and it's
Yeah.
a beautiful place.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Gonna find out.
Favorite wine, not that you asked, but I think it's beautiful too.
Oh,
Can I
what?
send that
That's
resolution?
important. Yes, ma'am. Let me do.